Cassie, I don't have a question. I want to publicly acknowledge your courage in doing a visible turnaround in front of the whole world. I think that's incredibly rare. I think when finally the history of this movement is written and we see it clearly, I think your name will be very powerful.
Thank you, Jerry. I just want to say something about showing my journey in the film. That was the last decision I made with this film, was including my own journey in the film. I really didn't want to do that. But I'm glad that I did, because I hope that I served as a surrogate for the person in the audience who is starting to question their own beliefs and know that it's okay to feel overwhelmed and lost and confused and depressed. There's a term, red pill rage, that's a real thing. So I hope that showing my journey let other people feel confident going on their own journey. And I decided to go on the journey to expose men's rights activists and talk to 44 people over the period of a year, and couldn't deny what they were telling me. I would go home and look up what they were telling me and realize there's a lot of truth to this that isn't being spoken about. And I had the choice to either creatively edit a film that would support my initial feminist views to make them look bad, which I've seen a lot of other documentary filmmakers do when exploring some kind of men's movement. They would have an agenda, BBC, and they would accomplish that through creative editing and telling the interview subjects exactly what to say, even if that wasn't their own view. So I had the choice of whether to make the film that feminists would like or make the truth. And I went with the truth because I was kind of on a suicide mission at that point. I was okay with the red pill being my last film. I was ready to start a family, and I didn't need to make another film, and I wanted to go out with a bang, and I guess I did. But I've always, in my documentary filmmaking path, I've always wanted to find the hard-hitting reality that you don't see otherwise, because we put on our fronts to just get along with people and get through the day. I appreciate films that really show a raw realness that's uncomfortable. And that was the truth of making the red film, so that's the film I made. One hard part was losing my community of feminists that I had built over 10 years. And let's see, what else was really hard? Waking up to how many blind spots I had for so long. For example, sorry, sometimes I don't want to say too much knowing that this goes on YouTube, but I found out that someone who is like in my top 3 people in my life, I found out that he had been a victim of domestic violence in his previous marriage and had knives thrown at him and beaten up, and I knew that earlier when I was a feminist before making the red pill, and I never connected the dots that, hey, maybe patriarchy theory doesn't line up here, or maybe men can be victims, or maybe, how is this happening, and how did he not get help? And so that was a hard awakening, to realize this person I've known my whole life had been violently abused, and I never saw it that way. So a lot of, self-realizations were hard to deal with. This is a fun story I've always wanted to share, and I've never shared before. My husband and I, we've been together 8 years. We got married last year, so throughout making the red pill, we were just dating. And the first 2 years we were together, I was a staunch feminist still. I didn't start making the film until 2013, and we started dating in 2011. So for the first 2 years, we got in a lot of fights, started by me. Then I started going on this red pill journey, and thank goodness bless his heart, he was so supportive, and actually he butted out most of the time. He let me, he thought however I end up, he'll support that, but he didn't, push me or influence me in any way. But through the red pill journey, I started to just have so much gratitude for what he contributes to our lifestyle and how he treats me and just who he is as a person. And now looking back, I can see a very defined change in our relationship where I probably subconsciously started treating him with more respect. And you know what happened after I went on my red pill journey? He never did this before, but now I never open my own door. I didn't ask him. I didn't, I always thank him when he does. But it was an interesting change because it was very subtle. I started showing him more respect, and then he started treating me so wonderfully, like above and beyond, and to the point where he'll yell at me if I open my own door. So our relationship has strengthened so much because of me opening my eyes to gratitude for him. So, that's a very small example of the change that we made, but I think it represents that the more that women open up and appreciate what men do, workplace deaths, that's one of the issues for men. You could debate for years about how do we change this, how do we fix this. I think what a lot of men's rights activists are just asking for is to be acknowledged and to be respected and understood and valued for their contributions. Maybe we can't make changes to all of these issues, but just to be acknowledged will make a big difference. Who should we focus on to drive the change? I don't think this will be a popular answer, but this is really what I think right now. I think we got to get women on board. My Instagram friend that I showed in the slides, she's a staunch feminist now. But when I became a feminist around 2004, 2005, and I told her that I was a feminist, she said, "That's ridiculous. You don't hate men and you shave your armpits." And she was very against the idea of me being a feminist. And for many years, I went on and was just very passionate about it. I started a little blog called The Girly Feminist, and we would just talk about it a lot. And I hate to say this now, but I was the one that made her a feminist. And now here I am, infuriated that I can't get her to see men's issues, and she's so stuck in that mindset.
You did a good job.
So I have hope that maybe some people can come around, even if they're really staunch like I was in the past.